Welcome to Art Talk with April. I'm April Harris of Inked April and the host of this podcast. This is season 4. We have some amazing artists on. I can't wait to share them with you. So let's get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Art Talk with April. Today we have Heidi Hooper, who is a dryer lint artist. And where are you located at, Heidi?
I'm in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh, interesting. Where your art career kind of started, even all the way back to childhood, like why did you get started in being creative?
I was one of those kids with a really bad childhood, so art was my escape.
Yeah.
So I mean, my parents really hated artists. Like they're the evil of the world. I literally had to hide drawings between the mattresses.
Oh my goodness! Wow. I had parents who weren't crazy about it, but
yeah. No, I decided at the age of 12 I was going to be the opposite of them for the rest of my life. So that's when I started doing sketches and hiding them under the mattress.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So then did you go on to school?
Yes, it did. Yes. And I got a degree, my bachelor's and a master's. When I went to college though, because I had no art classes, it's not like my parents would let me take art classes.
Yeah, sure.
I was like, oh my God, I was so far behind. I didn't even think I was going to get in because I don't have classes behind me, So I got in and I had to work extra hard because these kids have had 2 years of classes that I didn't have. So and then I majored in my BFA was in sculpture.
Okay.
And I became a armor smith. I made armor for women and men at the New York Renaissance Fair. A lot of leather work, but also a lot of hammering, smithing.
Yeah.
And then I got cancer and I became patient 0 for desmostosis.
Oh my goodness.
And I had that for 20 years.
Oh my goodness.
And by the time it was done, I tried different art avenues in the meantime. It was my chore each day, what can we do today? And each year I lost a little bit more control. I did portrait dolls for a while. And then it just ended up with at one point when I was at my lowest. My mother-in-law was at the house. She was doing laundry for me. She had lupus and didn't know it. And lupus means you don't feel heat, So she had all these chenille throws, and they were like burlap by the time. I literally had like a miniature collie dog on the dryer and a regular collie dog on the floor of mixed colors.
Oh my goodness.
So I spent the next 5 years in all trying to figure out what the heck to do with it because I felt so guilty. These people gave me these things and here I immediately within weeks. So that's what started it. Was like, well, this is a sign from fate, Mother Nature, whatever. Give this a shot. And it stuck. It took me a while to figure out how to make a process work, but
sure. Yeah. I mean,
it's not like anybody's out there and I could go, hey, Joe, how do you do this?
I can imagine you're practically inventing, this medium, and there is nobody to ask or go to or, get mentorship from, like everybody else is doing painting or, your metalworking or something like that. And it's just like, okay, now how do I make these things stick?
My first try was to try and do it like paper mache. My God, people don't try that. It is so gross. I mean, like paper mache will like stick to your fingers and stuff. Imagine it with like a mound of cat hair mixed in with it. Wow. It's just nasty.
Yeah.
So
Oh
don't
my.
try it. People don't try it.
Oh man. One of the things that really struck me about your story is you're having your illness and how you went through that period of kind of discovery and kind of working through, okay, what can I actually make, or what can I actually do now that this has happened? It's like you still had an urge to be creative and to make something. And so you
The
were,
monster, you can't kill that monster.
yeah, no, you're like, okay, what do I do now? So that's fascinating because I myself have lupus, and that's something that I have to deal with, like extreme fatigue. Suddenly, I'm just going to feel like crap and not be able to do anything. And then I had a brain injury and had to have brain surgery. And at that point, I thought,
Can't even
am
imagine.
I gonna be able to even speak, let alone draw?
Yeah.
When you're going into brain surgery. So I empathize with your story so much because it feels like kind of a personal um, kind of path that I myself have gone through in a small way, because my situation didn't last as long as yours has. And I just found it so interesting in how you kind of experimented your way into making this kind of art. And another thing that was really funny is that I have a terrible habit of like not throwing away dryer lint. Like I've done it that way all my life. When I would do laundry, I would just like put the dryer lint in something, like in a canister, like an old canister or a bag or something like that. And it would just pile up. When it got piled up, I would throw it away, And my husband has always fussed at me about that. And he said, I told him about your work. He's like, you should bring that up. I was like, I think I will. Because this can be used for something,
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I have people send me most of my dryer lint is boring grays and gray blues. Colors, I get them in the mail. People send me lint from all over the country. I've actually gotten stuff from Australia and London.
Wow.
So I guess I'm international.
Oh, that's fun.
But what I do is I take in December and I send them a calendar of all the work that I thought was my best for the year.
Yeah.
As a thank you. So that way I keep the dryer lint coming in.
Yeah. I need to start sending you some because I literally just do it naturally, like just save it for I've been saving it all this time. Maybe this is why.
There you go.
But I have to admit, most of mine is gray too, so I don't know how much help that is.
I'm just like, oh, sort the laundry. My husband is the one that sorts the laundry and says, you said you needed some orange, so I made sure I separated everything. And I'm like, I would have never remembered to do that. So it's terrible as an artist to say I don't keep track of get more supplies.
Oh, that's so interesting. And you think about too, like painters that just go to the store, like I need some more blue or whatever, and they can just go buy it. But you're basically at the mercy of whatever you have available to you, right?
I can envision a piece in my head, and then when I go to pull for those colors, it doesn't mean I have anything even close.
Wow.
And then you have to recalibrate. So it's a constant. It's like solving a murder mystery every time you go to do artwork, for lack of a better way to say it. Because it's like, oh, that's not going to work. Well, dang, I don't want to redo the whole thing. There's got to be another way around this.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes I do have to just rip it off and start over again.
Wow.
Because I just don't have the colors at work. So over the years, I've learned you get all your colors together first and make sure you have more than you need before you start.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Oh my gosh. And
Because when I run out of a color, that's
yeah,
it. I can
yeah.
never get it again almost.
Oh wow. I was gonna ask, like, and I'm being completely unfamiliar with doing your type of work. Um, is it possible to layer them to create a color like red and blue and
Yes,
make?
actually, when I'm working, how I do the shading is I actually do Instagram stuff on Mondays and Thursdays if people wanted to look
Yeah,
back and see.
awesome.
I take the dryer lint down to where it's just hairs.
Wow.
And that's how I do color shading. Is it's literally down to like a hair at a time almost.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah.
That is amazing. And
So yeah, it took me a while to figure that one out.
I want to say, like, I saw you had a video up where you were doing a pet portrait, and I
Uh-huh.
thought, oh my gosh, how is she getting this? Because I mean, pets, they have such a variety of different colors in their fur and around their face, and trying to
Yeah.
get those same spots and same, I guess, sort of
Yeah.
shapes
It's
of
I
color.
get an average of like 20 colors in a square inch quite often when I'm doing
Wow.
portraits. And it's like literally is like a piece the size of a pinhead, and you're stretching it out to thin it out as much as you can and then use it. So yeah,
Wow. And then
it
how
doesn't look like I'm doing because it's not pixeled or anything. You don't
oh,
notice that but it is. It's actually really, really thin. But
wow.
actually, the piece is actually really thick. The piece is about a half an inch thick when it's done.
Yeah.
It's just a constant build up, build up, build up, build up. Because like it's kind of like imagine tissue paper. You lay the red over the green, you get one type of mix. But
Yeah.
if you lay the green over the red, you get a different kind of mix. So it's a constant back and forth to get the shading right.
Wow. Oh my god.
That's why I said, I mean, most people who have tried this don't last. And I'm sure that's why.
It
I
it
mean,
it sounds tedious, but here's the thing. So, like, I have done in my career, I've done a lot of, like, pen and ink, which is,
yep.
if I had, like, different ink colors and I were overlapping them and I'm basically drawing lines, if I'm doing a 4 by 3 drawing, which is pretty big for a pen drawing, I'm imagining the same sort of crosshatch lines as being
Mhm.
hairs.
Yeah, it's
And,
exactly like it.
oh, I
I
just
I figured it out from watching. I figured it out literally from watching some YouTube, basically because as a smith, I was doing mechanical drawings, not people drawings. And
yeah,
you actually forget stuff as years go by. It's like,
sure.
oh my God. So I was watching YouTube stuff on comic books. I'm like,
Mm,
well, how do they do it? There's got to be. I was looking at all the different kinds of ways people do shading, trying to
yeah,
figure
yeah,
out what can I work to make this work.
yeah,
Um, and comic book artists, that's
yeah,
how I got it. That's how they're hashing that
yeah.
they use in comic books. I went, well, what if I did that with thin it down to hairs and it worked? And I went,
Wow.
oh my goodness.
So, I also kind of think of it too as kinda like embroidery a little bit.
Hmm.
Like, do you, like, stagger it, or are you doing kind of side by side, sort of straight?
Both. It depends on, like as if it's a crease like here, then you're doing kind of both at the same time because
Yeah,
you want to keep the line just a hair, you know, of a differentiation from the two colors.
yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm so
Well,
impressed right now, you just don't know. Because like, people say that about my ink drawings, they're like, "Why do you do it like that? And why," like, "it takes you
but
forever," and
it
I'm just
is a lot like doing a really fine ink drawing with like
yeah,
really fine rapidographs. It's that tedious.
yeah, yeah. But in my mind, it's way, way way more tedious, but fascinating because I mean, to take the time to create something like that and the work and thought that has to go into every moment, every choice that you're making along the way. I mean, that is just amazing. That's absolutely amazing. So like, um, when you're doing like, what is your typical size that you do these?
11 by 14, because then I
Okay.
can hold it flat in my lap and I don't
Yeah.
have to bend my wrists very much.
Yeah. Okay.
The big ones I like because I stand up. I stand up a lot. I pretty much stand up the whole time I'm doing those.
Oh,
Um, but like most of what I do is the little ones because, as you know, with like the lupus on a rainy day,
mm,
it's hard to function. And
yeah.
so a smaller piece you can function on, whereas
Mhm.
the big ones just becomes the effort of walking and raising your arms
Oh,
becomes
yeah, yeah,
a
no.
real pain. So when I'm doing the small ones, I can have pillows and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
pillows in the lazy boy, prop your feet up and just go at it.
I feel like I feel so lazy, but I draw a lot in my bed, because that's really what I can
I
handle.
do too.
And I mean, it's just like, I don't know what to tell people. It's like I do have studio spaces and like an office and a desk, but to sit there in a chair at a desk can be really difficult sometimes. Even
Yeah.
having like an easel or something, and you would have to, kind of make decisions on what you're going to work on that day based on what your
Yeah.
body can do.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that man. And I think too, one of the fascinating things to me is that I feel like a lot of artists, even if they don't have an illness or have gone through something like that, I feel like, and I may be making this up, but I feel like we choose like the art that we make and what we choose to do, it's because it fits us, not only, like how it looks and the style and all of that, but what we can actually do physically in our
Yeah.
lives. Like I can't necessarily do oil painting because I have small children who would just walk up and
I can't even
dip it in their
imagine.
finger and put it in their mouth, I mean,
Oh,
so I mean, I don't do that.
my cat stealing lint is bad enough. I can't imagine paint from kids.
I could see a little cat just like have balls of lint that they just knock around everywhere and play
If
with.
if I get a bright yellow or a bright red in the mail and I don't look to see where the cat is, I swear to God, the cat runs off with it, and I have chased the cat down to get it before it gets
Yeah.
covered in whatever.
Oh, oh, those cats. Oh, that's so funny. Um, I mean, it's just one of those things that for some reason I just find it so fascinating why, as human beings, we end up doing what we do, and that your art is so unique, and that, it's one of those things. It's like, how does this happen? How does it come about? Like, because like I said, I collect dryer lint randomly, and I've looked at it and been like, oh, where did that pink come from? It's so random, but uh, I just think that's so cool. But so when it comes to your actual like subject matter and stuff, what are you like sort of leaning towards when you do, like when you choose to make something? Are you doing a lot of portraiture kinds of things, or are you, working on other kinds of subject matter?
I'm not sure how to classify it. It's like I, I guess because I studied sculpture, so when I think of portraiture, I think of like just faces and stuff, and
Yeah.
I know that's not how things are necessarily categorized anymore. Um, but uh, to be honest, I'm trying to tell a story,
Yeah.
which each piece And the small pieces are like a quick snippet story, and the big pieces are like a story within a story within a story. So there's different things going on at the same time, but they're very subtle.
Yeah.
Here's the best example I can think of. I had once, we were on the road in a car, we had people in the back seat, and a bunch of turkeys cross the road. And I start laughing so much I can hardly breathe. And everybody in the car is like, what is going on? What? And I went, turkeys in high heels dancing. And then everybody looks at me like, what? And my husband goes, she doesn't think like normal people. It's okay. But I don't know how to explain it, but little things will tick my brain, and then I suddenly see a piece of art that I have to do. And it makes no sense at all whatsoever as to what caused the click in my brain.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating. So then, okay, you've got your turkeys in high heels.
So I don't know how you classify turkeys in high heels and stuff, but yeah.
Well, I mean, it sounds really fun. I love it. I think it's great. I think, I mean, I kind of feel that way when I come up with ideas too. I'm just like, oh, I'll be like driving my kids, or I'll be watching a show, and I'm like, I think I might want to make something about that. And it's completely random, and it might not have anything to do with anything political or serious. It's just random.
It's like, my only rule I give myself is, if it doesn't make my husband laugh the second he sees it or smile really big, it's not good enough. It's got to have that instant. And I'm like, okay, I missed something. And usually I can go back and go, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then I come back and show it to him, and he goes, oh yeah, that's good. So yeah, it's if I can't get a good laugh out of it, I'm wasting my time. I want to make people laugh.
Oh,
happy.
That's wonderful. Yeah. I mean, that is a wonderful reason to do what you're doing, and I think, how do you like bring it about? So you would, you said you kind of gather your colors together to make sure you have them.
Yeah.
But then, like, what is your surface, and how are you pulling it together?
I take foam core, acid free. Everything's got to be acid free. Foam core board. Then I do watercolor paper, and I get like an 80 grit and do a boop, 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 boop. So there's a lot of rough spots all over the watercolor paper. And then I only use enough archival cement for like a thumbprint just to get it started, because I've learned you kind of need at least one corner stabilized. And then I don't use any other glue.
Wow.
Because I'm working flat with the small ones.
Yeah.
So I just use pins, sewing pins. If something is trying to shift on me, I'll put a sewing pin in it.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's so amazing to me.
And then when I'm done, it goes behind museum glass so that you don't even notice it's behind glass.
Yeah.
So you still get the feel of like, it's great fun when you're going to like a show and people are like,
oh, it's so fun.
I just every time I show work at a place that has never seen it before, there's always one person that's like, can I get away with this? And it's a riot.
Oh, that is so funny.
The best part is when you see somebody walking by and they're like, it's just another acrylic painting, and then somebody will go, no, it's not. And then they walk up to read the card and they go, and then their face gets, the facial expressions are like, I wish I could sit there with like a camera going dip, 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 dip. The facial expressions are like in between horror cameras. And surprise.
You need to catch these people on hidden cameras, because this is genius.
It's a blast.
Oh, that is so fun. Because I mean, that's one of the so in that scenario, are you like at like a festival or something, like with a booth?
No, actually, I don't do booths because of the weather. I'm afraid of the dryer lint and a damp weather.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
I'm sure it would hold up fine, but it's just,
Yeah.
that's the only test I haven't done on it over the years to see what would work. um, but I do like gallery shows, and I have like a craft gallery where I have stuff in.
Huh?
Um, and so I do openings at science fiction fantasy conventions and stuff. I do artwork and have it in there. So it's mostly, to be honest, it's mostly the science fiction fantasy ones where you have people going.
Oh, that's so fun.
But the people in the art show, I always tell them ahead of time, if you want a good hoot, kind of keep an eye out on the artwork, and you'll see somebody eventually go like that, and you get to go, ah.
Oh, that's so fun. It's like, I recently saw a video about people in museums or people in galleries, and they have the line that you're not supposed to step over and like touch things, but they would say it's always the artists that end up getting really close to the paintings and like really,
Oh
they're
yeah.
the security and they're leaning over get a good look. Oh,
Yep.
so fun. How did you go about like marketing that or getting your work out there? And
That was very, very hard. Um, I got for even after I was already in the craft gallery for years, I got that's not an art material. That's not art. Um, I can't sell that.
wow.
With the downward vocalization. Um, it was a lot of a lot of that for
Yeah.
at least 3 years. I couldn't get anybody to take me on. But the thing is that because I kept at it, the work was getting better. And when I look back at it, to be honest, they were really awful, and I would have probably turned it down too if I was running a place because they were so bad. But anyhow, being on TV and other things like that before people actually stopped doing that. That's actually only stopped for me in the last 5 years.
Wow.
So most of my career, it's like, no, we can't sell that.
Wow. Now that is fascinating to me
Yeah,
because I thought,
because it's not a tradition, and they flat out tell me it's not a traditional material that people are used to. We can't sell it.
but galleries show all kinds of random
I
stuff
know,
that's not traditional
but
material.
that's those are the galleries where somebody's already established a name and they've gotten a foot in the big doors, and little galleries just can't take that risk, I guess.
Wow. See, I thought, this is a genius idea that is so unusual that people would just be like clamoring to get you into their areas and their spaces because it's unusual. It's something different. So it wasn't really like that, huh?
It's a weird mix of it's like a coin toss as to whether it's a wow, look at what she's doing. She's doing something nobody else is doing,
Yeah.
to a look at this freak.
Oh, God.
Seriously.
Really? Like in
Yeah.
the art world?
Yeah. And the fact that I'm in Ripley's, believe it or not, probably doesn't help any on that level. But hey, they gave me their foot in the door when nobody else would. So,
Yeah. I mean, I find
I
that
really, honest to
fascinating.
God, thought it was when they contacted me with email, I thought it was a joke because nobody was taking my work. And they went, we want to buy these 10 pieces. And I went, Mike, this is a scam. You got to handle this. But it was real.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So
So yeah,
how
my
did
first
they
first real sales was a big sale.
yeah. Like, how did they find you? Where did they find you at?
On the internet. They just were looking for unusual people doing unusual things on the internet.
Yeah.
the
And so
unusual
they just
artist or
reached out
whatever.
and were like, we want your work.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
I had started doing tributes to old masters as if they could do a selfie in their old pieces.
Yeah.
Because I thought, well, maybe that will actually make someplace think I'm not, a total freak or something.
Yeah.
And that's what they saw and they wanted. And then I did old masters for like, God, 5, 6 years, tributes to old
Wow.
masters. I
So
don't
it's
do
almost as if you had to like, you know, make something that was along the lines of trying to
easily
be traditional.
recognizable and easily sellable in order to be a foot in the door. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, and how did you feel when that happened? I mean, you first you thought it was like somebody was.
I was numb for weeks. I don't know how else to say it. I was numb for weeks. I just couldn't believe it was happening.
Oh, that's
Just
awesome.
couldn't believe it.
So then after that, you've had some sort of like TV spots and things like that. How did those come about?
Same thing. They just contact me by email. I want to do this. Are you willing to do this? And I'd be like, sure. Like any artist is going to say no.
I know.
I'm sure even the big wigs would go, heck yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
So
And-
yeah, it's been a roller coaster. It's like, I have some years where I get tons of publicity and other years where I get zip,
Mm,
absolutely zip. So, I'm sure it's like that for every artist for
yeah,
that matter.
yeah. I feel like it's really, I mean, I think the fascinating thing is that they came to you, that they found you, you know?
I am an exceptionally bad introvert. I am actually one of those, honest to God, I'm actually one of those artists that I had a solo show and I'm sitting in the corner with my seltzer water, drinking it, like not talking to anybody. I'm that bad. I am the mouse in the little corner shivering because I have to be in the
Yeah.
room.
Ugh,
Once you get me talking, I'm fine.
yeah.
I'm a gabber. But
Yeah.
that breaking the ice is like, oh, terrifying.
Yes. Yes. I'm with you there because I'm very introverted, but I'm doing a podcast interview with people that I've never met. And it's one of those things that it's like, okay, now why can I talk to these people and do this? It's because it's like in a context that I can, relate to what you're doing and you can relate to what I'm asking and that kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
That's so weird. That's fun.
Yeah. My husband's an extreme extrovert. So I usually just let him do all the talking.
Yeah, mine is too. And I think so. Like, I started to try to do art shows and festivals and stuff. And I thought, oh, I've got this husband who's going to talk to everybody and do everything. And darn if he didn't sit there with a
Read a
grouchy
book.
face. No, he was like,
Oh,
okay, Mason, you cannot do that. We've got to smile or something.
mine sits down and reads a book when those type of things are happening. And I'm like,
Oh, that's fun. Like, please talk to people because I don't think I can do it. Oh, that's so funny. Well, like man, I feel like that is such a big subject. The whole like trying to get your work out there and trying and trying and trying and continuing to try, you know, and it just not happening. Like, how are you feeling about that? And then you get your call from
well,
Ripley.
I learned early on that, which is why I kept trying art projects as I was going on with the cancer,
Yeah.
that you don't notice your pain when you're engrossed in art.
Yes.
So to be honest, that has been my key.
Yeah.
I don't feel pain when I'm doing my art. Of
Wow.
course, I only get X many hours of my body saying, okay, I will ignore this. And then my body goes, and I have to stop. But yeah, I kept at it mostly because I didn't hurt.
Yeah.
And with my cancer, I don't have muscle on my back because they had to use that to keep the arm protected. So I all my radial nerves, everything was like eaten away by the cancer.
Wow. Oh my
Um, and so when my pain kicks in, it's bad nerve damage pain.
goodness.
So it's like, do I curl on a ball or not? Oh God, THC is awesome. God, oh my God, they had me on gabapentin up to like they're about to put me on 925, and don't go gabapentin if you from it. Oh my God, that stuff is horrible. And I switched to the THC, and I have a brain now, and I can function.
Yeah.
So and it maintains the pain way better than gabapentin, which is same thing as Neurontin.
Yeah.
In case anybody needs that info.
Yeah. I mean, somebody might.
I'm living proof.
Yeah. And like, like you were saying, like you're also in creating your art, you're not, is it that you're not focused on it and you're focused on your art and it's not
focused on the art. I swear the house could probably catch on fire and I wouldn't notice.
Wow.
And I'm totally in the zone.
Yeah.
And I only reason I know that is because I've had a few times somebody's knocked on the door and I'm like, what? What was that?
What day is it? Did I eat?
I didn't even realize. My brain didn't even go, that's the doorbell, idiot. So yeah, I obviously get so engrossed in what I'm doing, I guess because I'm working so fine that
Wow, oh my gosh. Oh, that's
not a day goes by that I don't try and do artwork at some point in time.
Yeah.
Because it's my free zone time.
Yeah. That's your break.
Yeah. It's my break. Yeah, you're right. It's my
You're
break.
like, okay, I need a break,
Yeah.
You're not like going out and smoking a cigarette. You're like, I need an art break. I just can't.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. I love that too, because that's one of my things as well, is like the healing, the way that art heals and like helps you get through things, even if it's, like emotional or, just dealing with, it's amazing how it can just help you work through things, that you're going through, not only in a, mental, emotional kind of way, but in a physical way too.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's giving you that time away from your illness that you're like, I can breathe for a minute,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's awesome. And so that's why I think everybody should make art. Like, even if you're not
absolutely
doing it for some kind of, financial reason or career, art is amazing, and I don't know why.
When I taught smithing for a while, and I used to tell the students that just because you're not doing, you're not getting this, doesn't mean you can't get something else. There's all forms of smithing. There's not like, you don't have to make a vessel. You can make all kinds of things. All it is just shaping the metal. I was like, I said a cake decorator is an artist.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So don't just think it's all paintbrushes or it has to be metal. And people would go, oh wow, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
So, because I'd also teach them wax sculpting. So yeah.
And it's
like, if you can do it, if you can sculpt with wax and clay, you can sculpt almost anything that's malleable.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. But I think that's one of those things that I think a lot of people are like, you kind of think oil painting or sculpture, and you're talking about like traditional, this is what art is. And maybe that's, also in a lot of like gallerists kind of minds, they're thinking, well, we do photography, or we do, oil paintings or, and then they'll have, like a kind of a thematic thing, like it's abstracts or it's, like realism or surrealism or whatever it is. But I think to me, what is so fascinating about it is I like the unusual stuff. Like, I really like something that is just out of the ordinary. And I feel like galleries should be looking for that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just like my point of view is like it's the unusual stuff that can really change how we think about art and what it is and what we can do with it. And it kind of pushes the limits of, what's possible. And I think that your art does that. I mean, it's not just it's funny and it gives people that good, happy feeling. It's also that it's like taking something that we don't even consider being important at all. It's trash. We're supposed to throw it away, get rid of it, and making it into something that can actually change your mood and make you feel better. And you're amazed by it. And it's just dryer lint. It's like, it's just, like people take sticks and can make sculptures. It's like just a stick.
When I was a smith, I was a dead serious, stressed out artist. And then with dryer lint, it's like, seriously? Come on. How can you get serious about dryer lint? I mean, let's get real. You're still there's no matter how much you try and make it sound serious, you're still gonna crack up in the end.
Yeah. I mean, I think man, you have really got to get some cameras on those artworks, like built into frames or something. I don't know. But just capturing people's reactions alone would be like, look, everybody, look at how people react to this thing that I made, that alone.
To be honest, that's my favorite part of having worked in a show is I like to sit back and just watch people's expressions because it's just great.
Yes. I mean, that's fantastic. That's just wonderful. Maybe a lot of artists have a little nervous anxiety about is people's reactions, and you're just like all in, like, this is amazing. They're laughing at it. It makes them smile. That's what I want,
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. So where can people find your art?
A mono craft gallery in Lambertville, New Jersey. That's the main craft gallery. They actually even carry the big pieces.
Wow.
They usually have one big piece at a time. Right now, I believe it is one of the last tributes to Dolly. I've got a Dolly tribute one in there. When I run out of the old master tributes, I'm not sure what I'm going to give them because that's mostly what they want. Then Gamut Gallery in Stroudsburg here in PA. I'm also currently at Penn State University in Allentown.
Okay.
And I'm getting ready for another show coming up. Yeah, my walls are starting to get thin. In Philadelphia soon.
Wow. Oh my God.
So yeah, I've got work. This is my busiest year. I basically going to the month of November, I'll have works in 4 places at once. And I'm like,
oh my gosh. Yeah.
And I was like, maybe I should try and get in some of the bigger galleries now. And now I went, no. I need a bigger stockpile before I can do that.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's like I think I have like 30 pieces right now, and that's about it. And it's like,
yeah.
And how that is like for 30 pieces, you feel like, oh God, I'm naked.
Oh, and so like, how do people commission you for, art?
Usually
How do they
online
get in
that
touch?
people, contact me by either email, or I've had people contact me on the art boards. I'm on a lot of the art boards
I got you.
because I have to solicit for dryer lints. I go, look what I just did, and you can send me dryer lint.
I
Yeah,
need
sorry.
supplies, people.
My shameful confession there. Um, but yeah, usually there. I got one from Instagram last year, that was a first. You always hear about people getting commissions off Instagram. I never heard of it. I mean, never saw it. But I actually got one last year, so that was different. But mostly email. Mostly
Okay.
email.
Yeah, like probably from your website, they could probably contact you.
Yeah, I have everything down on the website. The galleries, the shows upcoming, the shows past. My husband does that. I don't have to. Sometimes there is a huge advantage to being disabled, so to speak, because I can go, Mike, and he does all the computer stuff for me. So
yeah, I think that's one of those things that's really nice to have, especially if you're an artist anyway, is somebody who can do that stuff.
Yeah,
Like a
I
job
have a
in
huge
itself.
advantage there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, good job, Mike.
He does do a really good job.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Heidi, for talking to me today. I really enjoyed it. And this is
I enjoyed it too.
Fascinating. And I can't wait to share your art with everybody. I think this is one of those things that, man, you got to see this. It's awesome.
So yeah, tell people by all means, send me comments,
Yeah.
Sometimes you're weak in a little spot, you didn't even realize it. And somebody goes, hey, what about, and like I just had one, somebody goes, did you realize your rabbit has human feet? And I went, yes. Like, sorry, but yes, it was purposeful because it was funnier. The rabbit feet brought too much focus on his feet, so I did human feet on the rabbit. So yeah,
that's awesome though. That's that twist there that you're like, oh.
it wasn't as funny. The tiny feet on a rabbit was funnier.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun. So everybody reach out to Heidi and let her know what you think about her art, and look her up on Instagram, and maybe get some commissions through Instagram too. Message Heidi. That's awesome. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Art Talk with April. For more information on this episode, join the Facebook group, The Art Lounge. Please subscribe and share. See you next Tuesday. Hope you have a great week.